What is going on, full-time family? Hey, I like that beat. Let's go ahead and cut the music. We're here. We're gonna talk some MMA today. Um, we got UFC 260 tomorrow. We're gonna be doing a live fight companion for that. It's been a while, but now that I've got my peace, my quiet, and my freedom, I can start focusing a lot more on myself, my productivity. So, with that being said, we were gonna be doing a barbecue for my birthday tomorrow, but I said no, f that. I'm on my path and my purpose. I'm streaming the fights tomorrow, doing a live fight companion. Let's reschedule that birthday barbecue for today. So we're gonna be having my birthday barbecue today. Later on, family coming over, little bit of get a bottle, have some food, good times, friends and family. So before that though, we're gonna be talking about some MMA news. Make sure you hit the thumbs up button, the subscribe button, and the notification bell. Don't be a baby back bagel biting beta male because you know what time it is. It's full-time MMA. Alright guys, the first thing we're going to be talking about today, let me fix the group chat real quick. But the first thing we're going to be talking about today is going to be Israel Adesanya's comments, man. And homeboy is, I'm just saying, a little sus. I mean, there's so many things. Now, I'm not too worried about his comments, even though it is costing him. He's not only had to come out and apologize, but he's lost a BMW sponsorship now, which that is, you know what I'm saying, and that's never good whenever your speech affects your earnings, and that's a pretty big sponsorship, BMW. So that does suck for Israel Adesanya, but when you're a public figure, you do have to be careful what you say. Let me make sure I got this correct. All right. When you're a public figure, you have to be careful what you say, especially if you have sponsorships. I mean, you'll lose those things. If you say, words, all type of words, the F word, the C word, the J word. There's so many, the N word. There's so many words that can just get you to lose sponsorship these days. It's unfortunate, especially if you're coming from somewhere where there's freedom of speech. But like I said, you have freedom of speech, but you're also free to suffer the consequences. So if you have sponsorships and you lose your sponsorships, that's on you. Now, one thing I really wanted to talk about is, and this isn't the first time he said controversial things. He said he's going to make Costa crumble like the Twin Towers. I don't think he lost any sponsorships for that. But also, on this, what the insult that he said to Kevin Holland, he told Kevin Holland, he said he will E-par him backwards. He will grape him without the G. Oh, well, you can see it on the screen what he said. And so saying that he is what made him lose his sponsorship. But I mean, think about his last fight with Paulo Costa. After he knocked Paulo Costa out, he went and like fake humped him from the back. He had the pink hair. I mean, he's humping dudes. He's got pink hair. He's talking about raping dudes. I mean, if it looks like a duck, if it quacks like a duck, I know. I'm just saying, like, his actions speak louder than words, and my homies got a couple suspect remarks and actions, and so you got to keep your eye on that. Imagine if you're a fighter and you get humped, like that's fucked up. You follow Costa, that's disrespectful, man. But yeah, so the Prime Minister has called out Israel Adesanya for his comments. He's in some hot water. He's losing sponsorships. He's gonna have to be careful with what he says, being a public figure. Now, a lot of people who grew up in the gaming culture, I'm sure Sean O'Malley's probably gonna run into this if he progresses and continues to progress, because I know personally growing up playing games and Halo 2 and Grand Theft Auto, and we used to throw the word rape around like it was just like, oh, get raped, like. It was not anything thinking about, we weren't joking about anyone actually, that actually happening. It was literally just like part of the gaming slang. And so I would imagine a lot of these other guys who are our age, who also grew up through the gaming culture, are going to use words like this that are just insensitive, but they're not doing it to be insensitive or to at all take away from rape or anything. It's just something that a lot of people used to say is slang. Now, everyone didn't used to have pink hair, and everybody didn't used to hump dudes, and so With Adesanya, there might be a little more to it. All right, moving on, we're going to talk about Dana White saying Dustin Poirier was smart to pass on the title shot for the Conor McGregor trilogy. I mean, that's what they're in it for, the prize fighters. They're in it for the money. You can fight like Charles Oliveira with pay-per-view points, or you can fight Conor McGregor. The only thing is, the fight could be, he could have gambled on himself, but it's honestly not a good gamble. Dustin Poirier could have said, F that. I want to fight Oliveira. Then if I win, I'll fight McGregor, and it'll be for the title and be even bigger. But then if you lose to Oliveira, who's a dangerous mother trucker, then you lose the McGregor fight. You lose everything. That's a lot of risk. That's a lot of risk when you already got the McGregor fight. So Poirier is choosing. Now, there's going to be some people out there, that are like, man, that's messed up. You should always want the belt, man. Not the money fight. Go for the belt. Fight Oliveira, man. And then defend against Chandler. No. The prize fighters, bro. Get that through your head. These are prize fighters. They're not out here fighting so they can have a fucking belt that costs less than $1,000 probably hanging in their room. And they've already got one. I mean, you just get more of them. How about you get the millions that comes with fighting Conor McGregor? And then if you win, you can fight for the title. It's kind of reversed, but I mean, that's the smart decision. Now, let me know what you guys think. Do you think that, would you rather have seen him fight for that title before fighting for the trilogy fight? I mean, that's what you're doing. I don't want to say you're selling your soul, but I mean, when you can, that's a little extreme, but you're choosing the money over the path and purpose, over being the champion, over the title fight. Because now if you lose to McGregor, you don't have your title fight. What if you lose to McGregor, but you would have beat Oliveira? You could have been the champion and then still fought McGregor. So it is a gamble either way, but I mean, Poirier is obviously going to go with the McGregor fight, the trilogy fight. That's going to be one of the biggest fights of all time. Makes sense. Legacy fight. This isn't even just a money fight. This is also a legacy fight. So I understand it for Dustin Poirier. Makes a lot of sense, and that's a fight that I'm sure we are all going to be looking forward to. We've got the Cupcakes, Miesha Tate. Oh, shit, we might be tying in the wall. Miesha Tate, 34 years old, coming back. Unretiring after, I believe, having 2 children to face Marion Renault at July 17th. Miesha the MILF Tate, Cupcakes, coming back. Guys, I know a lot more now than I used to know. And Miesha Tate has been with her man now, I believe he's an MMA fighter, Johnny Nunes. She's been with him, I don't know the exact timeline, let's just say 4 years, 4 or 5 years. It's been, they're in a long-term relationship. They're together. And if you know anything about modern women, you know she has officially hit the switch phase on my guy. And he's probably miserable, so he's probably banging other chicks because he's still in his prime. 34-year-old MMA fighter Johnny Nunes traveling around the world. Oh, he's fucking probably just banging all type of chicks. You know what I'm saying? He's in his prime. She's hitting the wall. So what is she going to do? She's going to go focus on her career, unretire. Who's watching the kids? Maybe the moms, maybe the grandma. That's what modern women tend to do. They go back to the career. Oh, we'll let the babysitters raise the kids. That ain't really what men want. You signed up to have my kids, and now you retired. You had the babies. You want to go back to fighting? What the hell? Who wants their baby mama out here cage fighting when you got babies at home? Hey, that's just, I mean, to each their own, but you retired and had kids. You're supposed to be living happily ever after. But the problem is, the intersexual dynamics between modern men and women, and with womanism and all this, she thinks she can make more money. He's probably not bringing in enough money for her. She thinks she can do better. But now, if she leaves him, she'll be a single mother. Oh, God. It happens. It happens everywhere, guys. I mean, 95% of relationships, I guarantee you they're in the switch phase right now. She's going through the epiphany phase where she's realizing, holy shit, like, I'm not getting as many hearts and comments as I once did now that I have these kids. Meanwhile, he's still over here fucking banging bitches like a supermodel. So Nisha Tate's back. She's gonna be fighting Marion Renault. Marion Renault's currently fighting a 4-fight losing streak. Man, unfortunate. She just came off a loss to Macy. She has shown. I like Marion Renault. I think she's a good fighter, and this is definitely a winnable fight for Marion Renault. I'm wondering where Nisha Tate's gonna be. She hasn't fought in at least 4 years, I believe, since 2016. That might be 5 years. And it was a loss. She's had some time to recover from that loss. It was that loss to she had another loss after Nunes, but Nunes takes bitches' souls, and she definitely took Misha Tate's in when they fought. I believe it was UFC 200. So yeah, man, Tate is back, and she's taking on Marion Renault at July 17th at a UFC event. I'm surprised she came back to the UFC. She was like commentating, I believe, for One Championship or doing some sort of upper management gig over there at One Championship. And now she's back to the UFC. So that seems like there might have been a little easier competition over there with One. She's back in the big league. So we'll see how Misha Tate can hold it down. All right, we've got a couple more things to talk about. Dan Hardy concerned that Dana White doesn't know the truth about the Herb Dean situation. Dan Hardy has had some time to reflect after getting fired by the UFC after a disagreement or a verbal spat with a female UFC employee. And as I said in the video, whenever I was talking about Dan Hardy getting fired, I said, y'all gotta realize, he's not used to being corporate protect your job America. This is a motherfucking caged animal, a cage fighter, a dude that knows jiu-jitsu, wrestling, striking, kickboxing, Muay Thai. He don't know etiquette, proper terminologies and buzzwords to avoid, and which way to tie your shoe. And that's not Dan Hardy. He's smart, he's intellectual, but he's a cage fighter. He's still a fucking beast. He's still an animal. So he's not as politically correct as some of you suit Sally wearing mother. You know what I'm saying? So, with that being said, if Dan Hardy feels wronged, he's not one of these non-confrontational beta males that typically are wearing suits. He's confrontational, and Gator ain't never gave a damn about no disrespect. So when Dan Hardy deemed it as he's missing an opportunity and he's not getting a proper explanation for why, he feels like this is a big opportunity for the UK that he might be missing out on, and he's not getting a proper explanation. He wanted answers. Now, the way he went about those answers clearly made somebody feel uncomfortable, but it's not just that. He also had the Herb Dean situation, where he, stop the fight! Stop the fight! Just, you know what I'm saying, kind of made Herb Dean look crazy, and damn near wanted to fight Herb Dean for a late stoppage or something, and that also made Dan Hardy look bad, and that was leading up to that could have been why he lost an opportunity. But like I said, being a cage fighter and not being that professional corporate American, that corporate person, then he probably went about it a little bit unprofessionally, and it led to his termination. And now he's reflecting and realizing, damn, I fucked up. He got fired on his day off. It's unfortunate because Dan Hardy is so damn good at his job, and what he is saying is, if they called me and said, hey bro, we fucked up, he didn't say they have to apologize, but he said he would take his job back. He doesn't feel like he was in the wrong. Maybe there was a misunderstanding, and if they needed him to fly in and commentate next weekend, he would hit the red eye. He would take the quickest thing smoking and get there and get back to his job. I'm sure he had a pretty good gig commentating for the UFC, getting to do the breakdowns and travel with the UFC. It was probably a pretty good gig, compared to like sitting at home and busting down videos on YouTube, you know what I'm saying, all day. He probably ain't trying to do that all day right now when you're traveling and being with the fighters. Ooh, he was having some fun. So Dan Hardy wants his job back, guys. You know what I'm saying? He's had some time to reflect. Now, Zabit Magomed Sharipov. How the hell you gonna get fired on your day off? I'm telling you. Zabit wants to fight for the title shot or Max Holloway. The 145-pound featherweight title fight was supposed to be happening tomorrow between Alexander Volkanovski and Brian Ortega, but Alexander Volkanovski tested positive for the Rona, so he had to be pulled from his fight. It would have been nice if Zabit was ready to put a man on deck and step up on short notice and jump in there and save the day, but Zabit is not the most active fighter in the world. He's one of them, Khabib wasn't the most active fighter in the world. These dudes be taking their sweet ass time. Peter Yan's not the most active guy in the world. These motherfuckers be taking their sweet ass time fighting. Just, hey, but it is what it is. I mean, when they fight, they fight. Nah. So Zabit, I would love to see more activity from him, but we'll get him when we get him. Now he's calling for a fight. He wants Volkanovski or Holloway. Why not Ortega? That'd be a #1 contenders fight. But maybe they reschedule Ortega versus Volkanovski, and that would set up Zabit versus Holloway. Either way, he's campaigning with his mouth and not with his fighting. And I want to see more fighting from Zabit, honestly. I don't have any fucking idea why he thinks he should be fighting the top 1 or 2 guy. He just hasn't did enough. Let me pull up his, because his Twitter followers, let me pull it up. Zabit Tapology. You got Lawrence in the building. Salute to Lawrence. I see you. Nunes beat the brakes off Biz. You ain't lying, man. 18-1 Zabit. 30 years old. Last time he fought was in 2019. So over a year ago, almost a year and a half ago, and he's talking about a title shot. I mean, I guess he did beat Calvin Kattar. God, that fight was so long ago. I don't even remember that shit. Jeremy Stevens in 2019. So he fights about 2 times a year. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fight winning streak. It's just not me. It's been a year and a half. But I mean, hey, if he gets a Max Holloway fight and can get a win, then maybe he can get a title shot. But I need to see from this guy because he is out of sight, out of mind. Last but definitely not least, we got our boy Sean O'Malley. He's got no problems admitting defeat, but he doesn't feel like he lost to Marlon Vera. There's just a lot of fucking trolls and people that like to spin what he says because he's a polarizing figure. There's a lot of O'Malley haters, and that is completely fine. To each their own. But a lot of you are just taking what he says and taking it out of context and being assholes. Do what you will. But this is what he's saying. Eventually, I'm going to lose. I'm not worried about losing. I do jiu-jitsu with some really good people. I train with really good people. I lose in the gym. Losing is not that big of a deal, really. One of these days, I'm going to lose a fight, and hopefully, it's not going to be due to an injury. It's going to be however it ends, and it's going to be just fine. The way I lost that fight, it wasn't because he was a better fighter. It wasn't because he was more skilled. How many leg kicks have been thrown from when that happened until now? And how many times has that happened where you got drop foot? He didn't take me down. My leg completely gave out, and I landed on my back. It happened like that. It is what it is. But it doesn't affect me at all going into this fight. In my mind, I'm 12-0 coming off the Eddie Winland fight. I'm in a good spot. I'm mentally in a really good spot. And if you know anything about Sean O'Malley, that is something that he is fucking... It's insane how mentally aware and like even it's crazy, bro. Because so you can say what you want about his fight IQs in his early fights, but his like real fucking IQ, like this dude, and I'm not talking about book smarts, but just awareness of like human nature and shit. This dude is a fucking wizard. And if you listen to his podcast and some of his interviews with some of these other guys, man, Sean O'Malley actually is an intellectual motherfucker. He's very articulate. It's almost surprising how intellectual and articulate he can be in certain senses. It's like, wow, it's really impressive, honestly. And it comes from, I'm sure, having a brother and growing up gaming. I know about it. I don't want to toot my own horn. I'm pretty articulate. No, but I kind of see where it comes from because it kind of reminds me of similar to myself. He said, losing a fight to me, it's not a big deal. I know I got a lot of criticism for handling my last loss, but it's just because you guys ask me questions and I answer it. You ask me how I feel, and I'm like, I feel undefeated. Then you guys say, be yourself, and I'm like, okay, I feel undefeated. Then they're like, no, don't be yourself. Act like you can handle a loss. I don't mean you, obviously, but people in general. You know, like telling him to be yourself, and then they criticize him for being himself, and it's like, okay, no, don't be yourself. And it's like, what the? You can't please everybody, and the haters are always gonna find something to hate on. So the only time it ever comes to my mind is when you guys ask me a question. I'm going in there, I already put in the work. Whatever happens Saturday night's going to happen, so I just let it flow. My expectations of what's going to happen, we'll see. I plan on going in there and taking him out and winning. If that doesn't happen, I'll live to fight another day. It's not the end of the world. I really wasn't used to dealing with too much hate, but I also know the people that are doing that, they're probably dealing with some stuff mentally. There's nobody that's doing too good in life that's coming on there talking shit. It hasn't really affected me too much, but it would be nice to go out there and prove the stupid people that they're stupid. Sean O'Malley's also a really good trash talker, which I'm sure a lot of you already know. But I mean, I could just sit here and rant and rave and gush over Sean O'Malley, but you guys get it. He's a fucking. I hope he gets a win, man. Gets back on the winning track, and like you said, proves the haters wrong. That would definitely be dope. With that being said, that is about all we've got for the show today. Thank you guys for watching. If you're watching on the playback, thank you guys for coming through and watching live. The few people who did, make sure if you're watching, you turn your notifications on, turn the notification bell on, and especially if you want me to do more MMA content, share the video. I would be greatly appreciated. And with that being said, it is what it is. Let the full-time family know what you guys think in the comments. I'm out.